yourself, be your own heart. Won't.
Hey folks, I got a new haircut. Okay, today we're going to talk about relationship pliability. I don't know if this is a real word, but it is now. Throughout one's life, people are going to meet lots of other people, and some of those people are going to stick around, and some of those people are going to leave. Some of them are going to leave and come back. It always fascinated me to see the people in my life change and see how much our change contrasts each other. Sometimes it's important to remember in dealing with relationships of all kinds that there are no clear universal rights and wrongs, and there's definitely no instruction manual on how to handle life. This applies to plain old friendships, but it also carries way more weight when dealing with polyamory. Everybody comes into their definition of polyamory differently, so while on the surface everything seems to be aligned perfectly, it's important to remember that they came to their definition in a different way than you came in on yours. There's this thing I call the absolute things checklist, and this is basically a checklist where all of the things that you find important in a relationship, be it sexual or some romantic or platonic, these are things that you find absolutely integral. Everybody has a checklist, and no two checklists are exactly alike. It's funny to think about this checklist of ideals because a lot of these things sometimes just assume that everybody's on the same page. But I mean, when you really dig into it, like even saying non-marital sex is cheating can get bogged down when you describe what sex is, because everybody has these different definitions of what classifies as sex. While it's not something I've always been able to articulate, I can definitely say that I've always had a checklist, and I can say with 100% certainty that the checklist I have today is different than the one I had when I was 25 or even 35. So while it's not stuff set in stone in a permanent manner, it does tend to stick around for a while, and given how slow change is, that's kind of understandable. You may try writing down your checklist and see what happens when you compare it to your partner's. I wrote mine down once, but my checklist just got shorter and shorter to the point where I just rattle it off if somebody asks. For instance, 100% autonomy is something I ask for in all my relationships everywhere. I used to get bogged down into the ideas of what loyalty meant, but the more I study the roots of jealousy, the more I question what the word commitment really even means. Ultimately, I've concluded that what I require in a relationship is some acknowledgement sometimes. Even if it's little things like my work is impactful, I look good in my glasses, I have a nose so perfect that it was carved out of marble. That really happened once. I feel empowered and I can get through my day. Since these things feel good to me, I assume they feel good to everyone else too. However, I have been proven wrong on 2 occasions. One woman found my complimenting of her hair objectifying. We talked it out and it never happened again. Ultimately, the resolution to the conflict of these ideals was to talk it out and explain why each of us feel the way they do. Just remember that your words mean something and you can't put them back. And with that is question time. Last week, Johnny asked me what are the 3 things I find most important about polyamory and why. My 3 things. 1, self-respect. I feel that polyamory promotes a level of self-respect that a lot of people don't find in monogamy outright. When you have the opportunity to see yourself next to one person and then compare that to what it's like to be yourself with someone else, you begin to understand what parts of you are you and what parts of you are trying to fulfill something. 2, respect for others. That carries over with the same reasons. When you're side by side with somebody else and you compare it to when you're side by side with another person, you really start to understand what their needs are. And you can understand how sometimes the things you ask for, maybe you're being a little pushy. It's important to understand other people's wants and needs and respect them for those. And 3, community. Now, when I say community, I'm not really talking about the polyamorous community as a whole, because that is important. I do feel it's great that all these people are getting together and understanding each other. However, what I feel polyamory as a way of being promotes is cooperation with other people as a whole, because learning to have that respect of community in your own relationship, I think it spreads out to your relationship with your friends and then ultimately your relationship with your community. And with that, I have a question for you, Johnny. With you being a mom of 2, how do you date? Anyway, that's it for today. I will see you on Tuesday.